Right this very second, roughly 250 miles above your head, someone is cheerfully drinking their own highly filtered, recycled pee while hurtling through a deadly, airless vacuum at 17,500 miles per hour. And they are having the absolute time of their lives doing it. Welcome to the International Space Station, widely known as the ISS. It is the most expensive single object ever built by humanity, a giant orbiting science laboratory flying through the sky so incredibly fast that it circles the entire Earth once every 90 minutes. That means astronauts see 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets every single day. But living in this magnificent floating metal castle isn't just about looking cool in a spacesuit and floating around like a superhero. If you were magically teleported to the ISS right now and had to spend 24 hours living there, your human body would go through some incredibly weird, scientifically fascinating, and honestly, delightfully gross changes. From your bones dissolving to your blood rushing to your head, space tries to mess with you in every way possible. Could you survive a single day in space? We are going to find out. But before we dive into the incredibly gross and wildly fascinating reality of living in microgravity, make sure you smash that subscribe button and ring the little notification bell. We explore the biggest, weirdest, and cutest mysteries of the universe every single week, and you definitely do not want to miss our next adventure. Subscribed? Awesome! Let's float into the science. First things first, we need to clear up a massive, universe-sized misunderstanding. When you see our brave little yellow bird, Pip, floating around effortlessly inside the space station, what do you think is happening? Most people think that because he is in space, there is absolutely zero gravity. No gravity equals floating, right? Well, actually, that is completely wrong. There is gravity in space. In fact, at the altitude where the International Space Station orbits, Earth's gravity is still incredibly strong. It is about 90% as strong as the gravity you feel right now, sitting in your chair. The Earth is reaching all the way up to the space station, pulling on it like a giant, invisible, sleepy bear, trying to give it a big hug. So, if gravity is pulling on Pip, why doesn't he fall down to the ground and go splat? The secret is speed. Mind-boggling, unbelievable speed. The ISS is moving sideways so incredibly fast that as it falls toward the Earth literally curves away beneath it. Imagine you throw a baseball as hard as you can. It goes forward, but gravity pulls it down, so it eventually hits the dirt in a curved path. Now, imagine you shoot that baseball out of a super-powered futuristic cannon. It goes much further before hitting the ground. Now, imagine you shoot it so incredibly fast, 5 miles every single second, that the curve of its fall exactly matches the curve of the Earth's surface. It is falling, and falling, and falling, but it keeps missing the ground. This is called an orbit. It is a state of constant, never-ending freefall. Because Pip, the spaceship, and everything inside it are all falling at the exact same speed together, everything seems to float. This environment is called microgravity. And while it looks like a bouncy house of endless fun, your body, which evolved over millions of years to fight against a solid downward pull, is about to get extremely confused and very, very lazy. Welcome to your first hour in space, where you get to experience the magical fluid shift. On Earth, gravity is constantly pulling your blood, water, and other bodily fluids down toward your feet. To fight this, your heart works very hard, pumping constantly to push that blood back up to your brain. But suddenly, in microgravity, that downward pull is completely gone. Your heart, however, doesn't know you are in space. It keeps pumping incredibly hard, pushing fluids upwards. The result? A massive rush of liquid floods into your chest and head. Astronauts call this the puffy face and bird legs syndrome. Your face swells up like a cute little marshmallow. You might get a massive headache, and your nose feels entirely stuffed up, exactly like when you have a terrible winter cold. Meanwhile, your legs, losing all that fluid, shrink down and become super skinny. But a puffy face is just the beginning of your problems. If you stay on the ISS for weeks or months, your body undergoes a quiet, invisible breakdown. On Earth, every time you stand up, walk, or carry a heavy backpack, your bones and muscles are working against gravity. This constant stress keeps them thick, dense, and super strong. Your bones are actually alive, constantly being broken down and rebuilt by tiny little worker cells. In space, taking a step requires zero effort. You can lift a 1,000-pound refrigerator with your pinky finger. Because your body is incredibly efficient, it realizes, hey, we don't need these heavy, energy-consuming muscles and bones anymore. So, it starts to get rid of them. If you do nothing, your bones will slowly dissolve, losing up to 2% of their mass every single month. When you finally return to Earth, you wouldn't even be able to stand up without breaking a leg. To stop their bodies from melting away, our brave astronauts have to fight back with extreme prejudice. Every single day, 7 days a week, without fail, they must exercise for at least 2.5 hours. They use specially designed treadmills with bungee cords that strap them down and complex vacuum cylinder machines to simulate lifting heavy weights. It is exhausting, incredibly sweaty work. Which brings us to the grossest, yet most scientifically beautiful part of surviving in space: the sweat. When Pip works out, his sweat doesn't drip down his face. It pools into giant wobbly layers of water on his skin, or floats off into the cabin air like tiny salty diamonds. Water is incredibly heavy, and launching it into space costs thousands of dollars per gallon. The ISS cannot afford to waste a single drop. So, the space station is equipped with the ECLSS, the Environmental Control and Life Support System. This system is essentially a magical high-tech sponge. It sucks up the humidity from the air, meaning it captures Pip's floating sweat, the moisture from his breath when he exhales, and yes, it is connected directly to the space toilet. All of the astronauts' urine, sweat, and breath vapor is collected, boiled, spun around, and aggressively filtered by highly advanced chemical processes until every single impurity is removed. It sounds absolutely disgusting to us down here on Earth, but this recycling system is an absolute masterpiece of human engineering. It cleans the water so thoroughly that the liquid Pip is drinking on the ISS is actually much cleaner and purer than the tap water you drink in your kitchen at home. As the astronauts like to joke, today's coffee is just tomorrow's coffee. Of course, if you're drinking recycled water and eating space food, which comes in vacuum-sealed bags and tastes a bit bland because your stuffed-up nose ruins your sense of taste, you eventually have to use the bathroom. Going to the bathroom in zero gravity is perhaps the most dangerous and anxiety-inducing mission an astronaut faces every day. Without gravity to ensure things fall down into a toilet bowl, things tend to, well, float up. And nobody wants a rogue piece of biological waste floating into the science equipment or hitting someone in the face. To solve this terrifying problem, the ISS space toilet uses the power of extreme airflow. It is basically a highly specialized vacuum cleaner. For liquid waste, astronauts use a special hose with a funnel at the end that gently sucks the liquid away. For solid waste, they have to strap their feet in, carefully align themselves over a very small hole, and let the suction pull the waste into a special bag, which is later packed into a trash ship that burns up completely in Earth's atmosphere like a beautiful, stinky shooting star. Living in space is incredibly difficult. Your head hurts, your muscles ache, your food is in a plastic bag, and you have to vacuum your own waste. It is a harsh, unforgiving environment that constantly tries to destroy you. So, why do we do it? Why do humans spend billions of dollars and risk their lives to float in a metal tube? When Pip looks out of the cupola window, he experiences a psychological phenomenon known as the overview effect. From 250 miles up, looking down at Earth, something inside the human mind changes forever. You do not see borders. You do not see countries, or politics, or wars. You just see a breathtakingly beautiful, fragile blue and green marble, shielded from the deadly, freezing void of the universe by an impossibly thin, glowing halo of atmosphere. You realize that every single human being who has ever lived, every animal, every beautiful forest, and everyone you have ever loved all exist together on this one tiny spaceship called Earth. The ISS isn't just a laboratory to study microgravity. It is a symbol of what humanity can achieve when we stop fighting and start working together. It teaches us how to recycle our resources, how to push the limits of our biology, and most importantly, it teaches us how incredibly precious and fragile our home planet truly is. So, could you survive 24 hours on the International Space Station? With a strong stomach, a lot of exercise, and an endless sense of curiosity, you absolutely could. The universe is a giant, spectacular puzzle, and we are just beginning to figure out how the pieces fit together. Now, I want to hear from you. If you were chosen to live on the ISS for 6 months, what is the one thing from Earth you would miss the most? A hot shower? Fresh pizza? Gravity? Leave a comment down below right now, and let's talk about it. Thank you so much for exploring the cosmos with Pip today. Until next time, keep looking up at the stars, and always stay curious. Good night, space explorers.